anybody to stay awake or anything. No, when I was leaving the house, Laurie said, just don't embarrass me. I said, okay. Can't make any promises, but we'll try. So, there's kind of been y'all have all heard the rumors of me in a previous life being a speed skater. Grant likes to make fun of that, as many people do. It's kind of like imagining Dan running marathons, you know. But anyway, so there was a time when I did that. It's not as glorious as it really sounds. Somewhere around, I'm going to say September, October-ish of, I think, 1997. We were at a kid birthday party at the skate rink, okay? So, and like halfway through the party or whatever, there was a speed team at this skating rink, and they come out and they did this whole expedition type thing, and you know, showing off and saying, hey, come join our team, you know, and it's really fun and cool, and anyway, I watched them do that, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And so I spent the next few months trying to talk Mom into taking me to skating practice. And anyway, finally got it done on December the 5th of that year, 1997. For some reason I remember that because that was my mom's birthday, and somehow that she gave in that day. So I went and got there, did practice, you know, with them and everything, and they're like, hey, he's pretty good, and y'all should come back. And so I kept going back, and anyway, about mid-January, started traveling with them. We were going every weekend somewhere. We went from Houston to Louisiana. I think we went to Alabama. We went to Florida. Not much skating goes on in Oklahoma, so we did not come up here. But anyway, went to a whole bunch of meets all throughout the winter, finishing winter and spring, and just normal stuff, you know, regular practice like you would baseball or football, you know, during the week. Well, we get to May, and May comes around, and there's regionals, which is everything from basically this whole southeastern part of the country, from Texas to Florida, up to, I think, somewhere around Kansas, across is kind of where the line was for our regionals. So, anyway, you could just sign up. You didn't have to qualify for regionals. So, I got to go, and I happened to win at regionals. So, that's when skating really began. You win at regionals, that qualified you for the Junior Olympics in California in August. So we had from May to August to turn ourselves into a national skater. Now, I just started in December. First practice, December the 5th. This is May. I'm still in like borrowed skates. Those skates back at the time were like $1,000, you know. Wheels were $150 a pair, and we were wearing them out about every 2 weeks. So, didn't have much of that. Didn't have any sponsors, or some of the guys that other had sponsors and stuff to pay for a bunch of stuff, but I was just on the scene, so hadn't really made anything yet. So, anyway, nonetheless, long story short, we started, the guy that was our coach was a retired skater. He was like super hardcore. It'd be like having Vince Lombardi, you know, as your football coach, okay? He owned the skating rink. That's all he did, was he lived, breathed skating. That was the only thing was any importance to him. So, anyway, we start skating, or he puts us in. There was a couple other guys from our team that made nationals, and so he gets this whole regimen worked up. And from the day we got out of school till it was the first or second week of August when I went to California. Anyway, we skated every single day, 3 times a day. He pumped us full of. I've never eaten so much in my life. I mean, but we were literally 8 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening. We were on our feet, and we'd skate inside, we'd skate outside. We spent 2 weeks in Colorado at the Olympic Training Center, trying to build our lungs and wind and everything. Anyway, get to California, and wind up. I won, finished second in my individual competition. Had a boy-girl relay that we finished third and got a bronze medal. And then I was on a 4-man relay team, and we ended up setting a new world record for our age group, and took home the gold medal there. That was it. I got done. I got back after nationals, and I was done. It was over. I won, and I could care less whether I put skates on my feet again. I was so burned out of it, just in that stretch of time. So anyway, it wasn't like 10-year glory or anything like that. Maybe I just got lucky one year. But anyway, hopefully the reason for this story now will hopefully make sense here in a minute. You know, the thought that kind of came to my mind was, you know, what if if I'd have just read all the books about speed skating, it would have never made me a speed skater. I could have studied, learned every single detail about every single bearing and every wheel and every form and every angle of how to take your corners and draft and all of that, but I would have still never been a speed skater unless I strapped the wheels on my feet and got out there and became a speed skater and did it. So that brings me to my question of, what if I asked you if you're a Christian? And of course, most of you would I'm sure all of you would say, of course I am. I'm really trying not to just read this. I'm working on it. So, of course, we talk about it. We study our Bible. We know the things we're supposed to do. Sometimes we do them, sometimes we don't. But there's a few things that we are told to do as Christians. One over in John chapter 15, verse 12, it says that this is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Now I can tell Laurie every day, multiple times a day, that I love her. But if she never saw any fruit from that, if she didn't see me taking care of her and the kids and providing for them and providing for them, that's what I'm good at. I'm not good at much other, but and providing for them. You know, would get to the point to where she would question, did I really love her? Is it just enough to say it? Is it just enough to call yourself a Christian? One of the other things that we're supposed to do over in Matthew chapter 28, verses 19 through 20 says, "Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. So when was the last time that you spoke to someone about Christ? Well, I'm lucky. I got double duty up here, so I got last Wednesday and today, so I'm getting a bunch of reps in right now. But really, outside of the assembly, when was the last time you shared the gospel with someone? I'm sure the majority of us, if not all of us, can remember a time when we should have, or we had the opportunity to share, and we just didn't for whatever reason. Maybe we chickened out, maybe we were nervous, maybe didn't think we had time, whatever the case might be. So, and really that's our main calling, is to share what we've come to know and come to learn with others that are around us. That kind of is a root principle of Christianity. What about service? Now that's a pretty important thing. Serving others, unlike Kalen's pride in serving ourselves from this morning. You know, this could look very different for everyone. Anything from, providing meals or cooking for someone. Could be fixing a tractor for somebody. Could be, being just moral support and being a shoulder to cry on. Over in 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 10 through 11, it says, "Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Do not be slothful in zeal, be fervent in spirit, and serve the Lord." Matthew chapter 25, verses 35 through 40, says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." There's a saying that says that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. Are you working hard in your Christian life, in your walk with God? Again, when we were training for nationals, it was 3 times a day. We ate it, we drank it, we slept it, had nightmares about it. The heat of the day, the cold of the morning, anything that we could think of to make us stronger, to make us faster, to make us better, going uphill, getting to just coast downhill. Running stairs. Sometimes we take our skates off and just run stairs. Had all these exercises, all these things that we would do, but we were after a goal, right? We were chasing something. We wanted something. We wanted to win. At the time, it was probably the most important thing for me. Of course, I wasn't but like 10, so, didn't really have much else to worry about anyway. And I certainly didn't want go all the way to California and lose, let everybody down. I don't know if y'all, I didn't know at the time. I was kind of, before I kind of figured some things out, I guess, but my parents went to one of those, those places that'll give you like a payday loan thing, okay? We didn't have enough money to go to California. My parents went and took out probably a 20% interest note. I don't know. I hear those are bad places, and I've never gone into one, so I'm not sure exactly how that works, but somehow they went in there and borrowed like $2,000 for us to go. My grandparents did a fundraiser deal and had these T-shirts made up, and I signed, autographed all the T-shirts, right? And they sold them for like $10 a piece, to gather up money for us to go. So the pressure was on, right? But I dedicated myself to make that happen. And I did it. Went out there, was successful. Grant, you aspired to have land and cows, right? And guess what? Now here you are. You dedicated yourself all those years. You got land and cows. Put it above everything for years. That goal, that ambition. Jeff and Pawpaw and Jim been breeding horses for 30 years to get to where they are now, where people know what a rafter W is when it's on the hip. They dedicated their time, their efforts, put everything they had into it. So my question is, are you dedicated as a Christian? Do your actions speak for your words? Is God really important to you? If He is, it should show up, right? We should see it. Shouldn't have to tell anybody. It would just be known. We make all these excuses every day of why we didn't do this or didn't do that. But if it is important to you, just like the land and the cows, if it's important to you as horses, you will make it happen. You will make Christ first. You will make those things that we are asked to do and commanded to do, get at the top of the list, and put your walk with Christ at the forefront of your lives. So, I hope this has been encouraging. It's not meant to beat you down and make you think of all the things you could have done or should have done or would have done. But if you really want it, there's really no excuses for it. If you really want it and want that intimate relationship with Christ, it's there for the taking. All you've got to do is dedicate yourself and strengthen yourself, and everyone else will be strengthened around you as well. So that's all I've got. If you haven't begun this Christian walk at this time, and you've been taught and wish to be baptized, then we certainly offer that to you at this point. Would be happy to help with that, or maybe you just let your light go a little dim, kind of in a rut. And you'd like prayers and encouragement to kind of turn that around and realign your priorities. We would be certainly available to help you with prayers and encouragement for that as well. If there's any of either kind, may let it be known by coming to the front as we stand and sing.